Welcome back, everybody. So I'm Giles, and today we're going to do something special. So I'm joined by my special friend, Thomas Kiss. So what are we going to be doing today?
We're going to set up a nice two-channel audio system powered by Courante electronics with an render streamer and some very special speakers out of coming from Hungary called Bayz Audio, Courante 2.0s. Yes, so the Courante 2.0 is actually now the third version of the speaker, new to the US. Okay, there was a previous distributor who did bring them to the country, but this is the newest version, the latest version, fully upgraded, very dynamic, very detailed speaker.
Follow along with us as we set this up. We'll talk through everything as we're putting it all together, and then we'll show off the final system there at the end. I'm really looking forward to it.
Good. Yeah. Let's start it. So here we have the box. Comes with a brush, comes with gloves for the speakers, comes with keys to lock the box, Allen wrench, metric. This is to tighten up the little columns which hold the speakers in place. This little piece and this is to set the speaker and lock.
Right.
Just front or back. Front you lock, rear you unlock.
Gotcha.
I will show you that. So this is what you're getting. Baffles.
Yep.
Okay.
To make it sealed.
Yes. If you get too close to walls,
seal it up.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about that before. These speakers are rear ported. So let's start with the setup of the speakers first, because without that. So here's the base. It comes in a really nice carrying case. This is heavy. This is a heavy base.
It's very heavy.
Okay. So what they use is Neolit, which is a very famous company which makes high-end countertops for kitchens, etc. So when you turn the base over, it will tell you where the front is. This is the front of the base. Very important, because the speaker can only be set in one way. So these are the columns when you set the speakers up. Here you see this screw to tighten it. So untighten it before you set the speaker in. Okay. Okay.
And the screw in.
They will go in and then gonna get locked. Okay. So I'm gonna loop this here. So I set those. And what we're gonna use to lock the speakers, I use a plastic hammer and this piece. It will slide. There's a slot here in the front to lock and unlock, and one is in the rear.
Oh, I see. So that's just like a little extension that that lets you. Okay.
Yeah. So the speaker itself, be careful when you set it up, because the tweeter is here. A lot of people tend to grab this and damage the tweeter. So please grab it from the rear on the handles here. Okay. And then it takes normally two guys to guide it.
You need me to come over there and help?
Yes. So I'm gonna raise it up and he's gonna try to guide these in.
We're in.
We're in. So to release that, it's Velcro. To release the top, you release the bottom, and then you have to release on the bottom. There's another pull string. Okay. And then this is where you have to be careful. When you start pulling that up, don't let it pull in, because that's where the tweeter is. Okay, you see it? I mean, it is protected, but
still,
that's the only way how you can damage the speaker during packing and unpacking. And it happens a lot. Okay, so
that's really tight, yeah.
Okay, so as you see, this is very tight, so this is why you have to be careful here.
And now you're in the safe zone.
Now you're in the safe zone. Slowly. You could tighten the speaker up first. I like to play around with it first. As you know, this is an omni-directional tweeter. Okay, the worldwide patent is pending. So this tweeter is built by the founder and chief engineer of Bayz Audio, Zoltan Bay. So he keeps it secret. He's the only guy who builds those. So The glass fiber or carbon fiber body is built by the same company who in Hungary who builds the airplanes for Red Bull, and also some chassis for Formula One, etc.
Yeah, it's a beautiful finish on
this. So whenever you see a colored finish, then it means it's glass fiber. And then the top of the line Courante 2s or counterpoint 2s are full carbon fiber, which increases the cost, of course. So this speaker starts anywhere from, depending on finish and bass and any other customization, I would say roughly $45,000, $46,000, and goes up to 70. So the options you can do are painted trims, the column, change the bass to almost any color you want. Any RAL code finish we can do, even metallic finishes. You know, if you have a sample, you send it to the factory, they can
copy it, they can match.
Yeah, they can match. So will take a little longer. Normally production for any of the custom means any color. Black and carbon are not considered custom, even though carbon fiber is the most expensive. Those he manufactures and has on stock mostly. And in the black finish, he does matte, and of course you can do a matte finish, gloss finish. So limitations on the finishes are endless, you know. And like I said, the stone is neolit. There's a link to the website. You can pick between about 80 different colors. Okay. The bass is heavier than the whole speaker. I think the bass is over 70
the bass is very heavy.
Yeah. Okay, so let's...
Yeah, I can see this in a big room, and then someone has a Ducati and a Ferrari and a Lambo in the back that are all color matched, and then they color match their speakers to it.
We're doing it now for one client. Can't say the name. A VIP in New York, but he wants Ferrari red.
Yep.
So, and then here's the trick. Ferrari red actually has 3 colors, so we narrow it down to which Ferrari red you want.
Right.
Okay, so let's tighten up the column, which is an Allen wrench. Okay, so that keeps the speaker in the column. Now we have to tighten this. And
this is the only time that you're going to pound on a $50,000 speaker.
It seems tight. So there's still a little play on this speaker. We're working with the manufacturer to improve it even more. You know, but another fun factor, these feet actually designed with isoacoustics.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool.
For decoupling. Okay, so there's a couple of really top-notch companies involved in these projects. Zoltan Bay, of course, from Bayz Audio. Then the company who makes the bodies, all high-tech. Neolith, very famous company, produces countertops, etc. Stones out of Spain. And then Isoacoustics developed this for Zoltan. Okay, so let's hook these up and use the risers.
Okay, so you've seen us put these speakers together in this system, and we've taken some time and we've sat and listened to it. And now we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, what we think about the speakers, right? And ultimately the goal is to understand, you know, what's different or special about the Bayz, right? Because that's kind of the big thing. People have seen the amps and all that kind of stuff before, but these, I think for most folks, will be new. So in general, what's the reason people would want these speakers?
I think the biggest advantage of these speakers are the omni-directional tweeters, because most people have to sit in a sweet spot in front of the speaker to enjoy the best audio.
Right.
But this speaker can be placed pretty much anywhere in the room, fill the room, and you're not going to lose the detail, the vocals, etc. Even if you're off axis, if you're behind them, you're maybe in an open area where their living room is open to the kitchen, you're doing yourself a sandwich, the detail is not lost.
Right.
Okay, so it's one of the big advantages that it sounds good in almost in any position wherever you sit. Do we still want to sit in the sweet spot? Yes, because there is a sound stage. There is where the vocal is going to sound the best. The separation, etc. It needs to be set up like almost any conventional speaker in that case, but it's more enjoyable, especially in awkward rooms, L-shaped rooms, rooms where people may have to sit to the side because otherwise they would be too close. You still can enjoy the speaker. You don't lose the detail. Sound stage is nice. The other thing, what I actually like the design about them, they're different.
Yeah, okay. They are very stunning visually.
They're stunning visually. A lot of people are going to say they're ugly. People call them paper clips, whatever. But I look at them and I see like a sculpture, And for me, it's a beautiful speaker. I mean, does it have to be a box speaker to be considered a speaker? I don't think so. This guy, Zoltan Bay, the designer, founder of Bayz Audio, thought he needed to create something different. He wanted to fill a room better. He wanted a natural reproduction. He wanted detail. And that's the concept he came up with, omnidirectional tweeter. Still, it's a bass reflex speaker. So there's still some limitations, like with most other speakers. Do you want to be too close to a wall? No. Okay, yeah, okay. So there's some similarities to a conventional speaker, but for me, the design is different. Not everything has to be a box speaker. I like that you can design your speaker how you want it, pick the colors, bass, change even the trimming, whatever. So I think for me, it's a great sounding sculpture. That's how I would describe it. But the importance is that this speaker can fill bigger rooms, can work in smaller rooms. In this room here, we had slight issues.
This is a tiny room, and where the seats are, yeah.
And we are in the wrong direction, where it should have gone. We couldn't because there's a closet there. So we are sitting too close to it. The speakers are a little bit too close to the wall. In my perfect scenario in this room, speakers should have been like 3 feet away. We needed to sit about another roughly 8 to 10 feet away from it. So we really didn't experience the real potential of the speaker. But it is what it is. It still sounded clear, detailed. You didn't feel any listening fatigue.
Nope.
They're not over the top. They're not harsh speakers, as many people describe some speakers, without losing the detail. And that's the most important thing. For me, it's always like, can I hear the things which I can hear in other speakers? Can I hear the drummer? Can I hear the sax player like pushing in, maybe spinning into the
feel it?
Can you hear the picking of the strings on a guitar? Yes, because immense detail, nice dynamics, and as any other speaker, of course, you aim to have the perfect room, which is maybe the only weakness of these speakers, is that they cannot be too close to walls, and maybe because of the smaller drivers, we cannot come down to the low frequencies. But as any other speaker with 7-inch drivers, you would have the same issue.
Yeah, you just add external support for
we still recommend a high-level subwoofer or something, But in general, I love the speaker overall. Very clear, very dynamic, very musical.
Yeah.
Is it a forgiving speaker? No. Because if your recording is bad,
you're going to hear it.
You're going to hear it.
Yeah.
So it's not a forgiving speaker, but what I call it an audiophile speaker, definitely. Definitely.
So I'll echo that. And I think until people really experience an omnidirectional speaker, and there are a handful of them out there, not a lot, but there are some out there. And if you go to a hi-fi show, almost certainly there'll be one set from someone there. But these are really nice because it does allow you to use these two speakers in, I would assume, almost any space and get really great sound no matter where you're at. Now, like you said, if you're not sitting in the sweet spot, you're not going to get the traditional soundstage,
yes.
Right? But the clarity and the sound quality does carry out anywhere inside of the room, which I think is outstanding, right? for me, when you move into speakers at this level, right? So you're not spending, you know, $5,000 on a pair of like box speakers. You're spending a bit more money to get the sound quality, but I think also you need them to be a statement piece, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to spend $50,000 on a set of speakers and not really like the way that they look. And I want them to be something special. And these are absolutely that. Now, whether people like this style or not, you know, who knows, right? I like it. I think it's really cool. And, you know, these are in white. They photograph really well this way, but I think, you know, that picture you showed me of the Ferrari red ones that
Yes.
that you're working on, those are gorgeous, right? Those I think, man. And like you said, the customization of these, you know, is super flexible. You can do whatever you want to. You know, that's what you get when you move into this level of speaker, right? You can have that kind of customization. And the piece that also, from a sound quality, that's super important for me is that these are, the tweeters in these are not too hot, right? Some people like that really sharp, kind of harsh, almost, some people will call it the beryllium sound, although beryllium can sound really, really good. But I think you understand what I'm talking about when I say that, where, you know, that sound, when you're listening to someone sing and it's a high pitch or whatever, it does this. And I don't know what the technical term for this is, but it becomes too harsh and not pleasant. These, no matter what volume we played them at, and we turned them up pretty good, the vocals were smooth and they were natural, and you didn't hear the speaker, if that makes sense. You heard the song. So I really appreciate that. I like them a lot.
To summarize it, I think it's a very well balanced speaker. Covers a lot of flavors. Very smooth, I think, especially when we listen to some of the jazz we picked, like Gene Ammons, you know, My Romance, when he plays the sax and everything. I think it sounded really like a sax should sound. We listened to, what was the guitar before? I forgot, the Requiem.
The Requiem.
Amazing. You can hear him picking, tapping the guitar.
The female vocal on that was good too. Yeah,
it's a very it's a speaker which plays a lot of good genres. You know, a lot of genres are really good. There are speakers they really a little bit, I call them boxed in, because they play some music really well, others don't. I think we played from jazz to EDM. We played 80s pop.
We played rap, hard rock.
We played a lot of genres, and I think it covers all of them really well. Anyways, like I said, it's maybe a speaker which is going to bring out some of the comments like, holy moly, how does this look like? I know, this doesn't look like a speaker. Does everything has to look like a box speaker? In my opinion, no. You know, there is MBL out there, different, you know, and I still love it. There's a lot of other brands which don't look really like real speakers, but I think it could be an advantage. Is it a, how to call this? It's a controversial speaker, I would say.
It would be polarizing, right? So people are going to fall on one side or another. Folks aren't going to look at it and say, it's just a speaker. They're going to say, oh, that's awesome, or oh, wow, I don't really like that.
No, these are the comments we normally get. It's mostly the extremes, you know. People like either love it or they hate it, you know. But we're here to reproduce music in a natural way, as good as possible, you know, to the intent of the musician or the studio engineer, a recording studio. We want to play the music how it was recorded, with as little of discoloration as possible, you know. And I think it's a very musical speaker, very detailed, very dynamic, covers a lot of the points which an audiophile would like to have in a speaker. And like any other speaker with smaller drivers, I mean, you always want to add a subwoofer or two to a system like that. It will especially help with some of the music you like.
Yeah, electronica.
You know, electronic or EDM.
It will really give you that low end.
Yeah, low end, which the problem with these drivers is that they're too small. The designer tried to make them very accurate, fast moving, and he thought at that price point, at that size, he couldn't go bigger, because he still was also really thinking about the design and the form factor and the size, compared to the bigger one, which has 9.5-inch drivers and which can go pretty low.
I want to see one of these in the huge size with like 15s. And the tubes are like 17 inches cylindrical. They have to be like 9 feet tall.
Don't think that will happen. I mean, he's working on a reference one. The bigger one right now has two 9.5-inch drivers. Same configuration. Imagine this speaker 33% bigger, but he is working on a reference with a dual tweeter and bigger drivers. So,
okay, that's cool.
But 15 is most likely not going to happen. We're looking more in the 10, 11-inch range.
Oh, that's still significant.
Yeah, so
That's
we're
significant.
working on one of those, and then we will try to maybe come out with something smaller, and a so-called entry-level speaker.
I want the Bluetooth version, just like, just put it on your desk.
Not going to happen.
You have the little, 2-inch drivers or whatever.
And maybe a center channel, because some people, they are already asking about...
These people.
Yes, these people about a center channel, which we're going to most likely do a horizontal version of this.
Yeah.
But
dude, that would be cool.
But it depends on, Zoltan, the chief engineer and owner, how far he wants to go. But we talked about smaller speakers. We talked about bigger ones. And then we talked about maybe doing center channel something. But I'm visiting him in December in Hungary. And we're going to put our heads together and see what we think is feasible.
Yeah.
What is achievable at those price points. And if it makes sense for him. I mean, he's a strictly high-end audio guy, 2-channel. He didn't really think about expanding into the home theater market. But a lot of my clients have multi-purpose rooms.
Absolutely.
A real media room where he uses this 2-channel audio system in conjunction with the theater. And that's why we want to maybe try to get with some bookshelves, to come out with some bookshelves, maybe a center channel, and then also bigger speakers for big rooms and for people who really want to go deep down. Like I said, this is the Courante 2.0. It is a third version. This speaker starts in a basic black matte color at $45,000 a pair, and then depending on the finish is metallic, if it's high gloss, whatever you come up with, it can go up to the 60s. And then if you don't want to do a full carbon fiber version of this speaker, then it's roughly $70,000. Production time right now is anywhere between 3 and 4 months, which is pretty reasonable for a fully customizable speaker.
Right on. So here's my brainstorm. Zoltan, am I saying that right?
Yeah, Zoltan. Yeah.
Zoltan, if you're listening to this, imagine a cylinder with a 15-inch driver mounted magnet up with your tweeter on top. No top piece. No, just cylinder up, your tweeter on top, 15-inch. Just 2 of those. I'm telling you, man, that's the one. Okay, enough of that. So if somebody wants to hear these speakers, how can they hear them? Where do they go? Who do they talk to?
We're going to be at almost any high-end audio show. The next show we will be in Rockwell, Maryland at the
Capital Audio
Fest 2024. Next show will be then in Florida. We're going to do the Florida Expo. We're going to do the show in Dallas.
Yep.
Which is the partner show of Capital Audio Fest, if I remember. And then we will be in LA for the D show.
Yep.
Which is I think in July.
The Home Entertainment Show.
Yeah, Home Entertainment Show. So we will be also in Pacific Audio Fest. And then next year, we're going to also go to the shows in Montreal and Toronto.
Great. And maybe even more important than that, though, if they want to see this outside of a show, they can always go to Vegas, right?
Yes, to Vegas. We have a showroom, 5,000 square feet. We have both models on the floor. Colors will change, configuration will change, but we always will have a small one and a big one in the show for demoing.
And that's AV Luxury Group.
AV Luxury Group, Las Vegas.
Cool, great. Well, I think we've covered it. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for your time.
Oh no, coming in, bringing all the gear. I don't know that the room's ever sounded this good before.
I hope not.
Yeah, it's nice. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Remember, if you've liked this video, down in the corner, there'll be another video suggestion for you. I think you'll like that one too. Go ahead and click on that one. And if you haven't, go ahead, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the normal stuff. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you, guys.